This week, penalties for everyone as we create a new part of the circuit at Fuji. Death for car 666 in race B. And the lunge in a century in race C. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in Gran Turismo 7. And in the background you can see some nostalgia as we are in the Mitsubishi GTOs. Let's jump straight to the race details then, because it's going to get a little bit interesting here at Fuji Speedway. It's the full circuit. We're racing 6 laps here and it's a good start. Comfort soft tyres, tyres 1 fuel, tyres 1 tyre wear and BOP is fixed. Now did you notice anything? 6 laps. Fuji road car, that's over 2 minutes a lap. This is a very long race. In fact, most races are going to be over 14 minutes in length. Unless you're at the top end of driving, then it will be under 14 minutes, which means you're risking missing the next race A. So just be careful of that if you plan to just do race A's consistently. Now in the background you will see some timestamps, so if you want to avoid race A and jump to race B, please do so, or race C, or the guides as well. They're all there for you. But without further ado, we're going to jump straight into race A, and let's have a look exactly what happened. We are then at the start. Pop-up headlights! Flash those headlights! Please do. That's what they're there for. As we get ready. Now, I do want traction control on 1. I'm not sure it's really necessary, to be honest with you, because it is all-wheel drive. It activates a tiny bit, and then it's fine, so I wouldn't worry too much about traction control. Right, here we go then. Start the race. So the driver to my right got a really bad start. I'm going to head towards turn 1 then as we get ready for the first braking zone. But everyone brakes a bit earlier than I expected, unfortunately. So I hit the Italian who hits the Spaniard. My fault at the end of the day. So I'm just going to wait for the Spaniard to get back on. Make sure I'm staying at the back here until everybody is right as rain. But yeah, they broke just a tiny bit earlier than I expected. But different driver ratings, this kind of thing can happen. And I definitely could have easily broke there a little bit later as well and still made the corner. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. My fault. We move on from it and they're still battling up ahead, so we didn't lose that much time. And neither did the Spaniards. So in towards this right-hander we go as we let off. A lot of people go too aggressive into this corner, and I will explain it on the track guide again that, you know, at Fuji you don't go aggressive into that corner, because if you do, you're just going to come out the way they did, which is going too deep and having problems. Now, all sorts of contact happening up ahead here. Now that's the Italian I hit earlier on. Again, apologies to you. You can see the dent in the car where I hit it. It's nice that we do have this sort of graphical improvement with damage. It's nice to see, because in the past it's just been clean as a whistle, even after you hit a barrier at 300 miles an hour. As we head down towards the chicane then for the first time of 6. Ali down the inside then. It's going to be 4 wide into that corner. And everyone manages to get it stopped and stay on just, I think. There's a few penalties going around here. Somebody's gone a bit deep there. Stephen DD. As we continue on, the Spaniard was driving very cautiously there behind me in towards the right hand. I was like, no, I'm not getting involved in this. 2 second, 3 second, 3 second there. Look at all the penalty. Penalty for you. Penalty for you. Penalty for everybody as we come through there. So we overtook somebody who went way off because all 3 went off. There's a slight tap from Stephen on Roy. As we come through it sounds like I'm speaking to a few 60-year-olds here. Never mind, through we go. And it wouldn't let me back on the circuit, so I had to sort of force my way on there. And now we are on the inside of Roy, who gives me space there as we leave that corner up into the cursed position straight off the bat there at the end of lap 1, even after that dodgy start, which I'll say is my fault. I openly accept my mistakes, and that is definitely a mistake of mine. As you can see, penalties happening everywhere, including there for Trek as we go past into P5 now then. Let's advance a bit further on and let's catch up to Ali then, who is the Italian we hit earlier on. So we're going to have a good battle with Ali here then in towards the chicane then. And I'm just showing my nose here just to scare Ali a little bit if, you know, oh no, he's going to lunge sort of thing. But gives me space as well, which is very kind. So at this point, I'm like letting off completely. I want to go for a straight line run through the chicane. It's a very good way to overtake people because people always go too aggressive in that second part as well. As you saw there, Ali just went too deep into the second part. And I could just straight line it and accelerate all the way through and make that position. It's a really good overtaking move to learn if you don't know it, because you can apply it on multiple games and it works every time. So in towards the left then, we've caught up to 40%. What a nickname that is. 40%. My word, it's like all the money is at 1p. What's the difference with 50 cents and 1? I don't know. Let's not go there with all these money jokes. Let's carry on then. In the inside, they went too aggressive again into that right-hander, and I knew they were going to go aggressive here. So I really slowed down there because I knew they were going to try and outbrake me. I just got on the inside. So easy. So easy to do. Happy days. We continue on. I just remembered, by the way. Remember the fly like a tiger that I used to say randomly out of the blue? Yeah. Anyway, lap guide time. I'm going to head towards turn 1. And on the right side, we have that big black lamppost light thing, whatever it is. Use that as your brake marker. As that gets level with the end of your screen, you're going to hit the brakes and drop to second gear. And you will stop for the corner. Absolutely spot on, like I did there. Look at that beautiful stuff. As we clip the curb and through we go. Now this car very stable on exits, so you just plant your foot and accelerate through. Now I'm short shifting this car a little bit. I noticed at like 3/4 it was fine. The top end it was struggling a little bit, so that's what I did. Heading towards turn 2, I used the left marker, which is the barrier color change, dark grey to light grey. However, a lot of you complain at that, so the 100-meter board just after that leaves your screen is when you're going to brake. And you're going to want to just let the car roll a little bit through the corner. Make sure you don't run too wide here. And then we're going to head towards this right-hander. Now, do not go too aggressive into this. Look at this. I'm hardly pressing the pedal here. I'm just rolling through the corner. I'm balancing the car. I don't want to brake at all in this corner because it will unsettle the car. Keep it tight. Just accelerate nicely through the corner and then head towards this left-hander. I use the end of the curb on the left-hand side. I've highlighted the 50-meter board because sometimes you can't see that if there's a car next to you. So you're braking before the 50-meter board, but when that curb hits the edge of your screen. Now, I'm trying to go around the outside of Alex here, but Alex is going to keep that position. Well played to Alex as we accelerate through. Nice short shift earlier there. Notice there's no real difference there. So as we head towards the chicane, it's a Dunlop sign. As that hits the top of your screen, you're just going to hit the brakes. Again, nice and easy. Second gear. Straight line you're braking and go very nice and easy into the first part, okay? You don't want to go too deep here. Very nice and easy. So we're just going to turn in nicely. We're not going to go aggressive here. And then as we go towards the left, that's where we want to turn. And we want to straighten up as quick as we can because we get a good run out that corner. Alex did that quite well, to be fair. As you can see, we still got that run on Alex. As we head towards this right-hander then, we're looking at that lamppost on the right-hand side. The one I always use here at Fuji. It's a really good brake marker. And you're going to stay in second gear throughout this last sector. There's no need to change to third. Yes, you'll get near the end of the revs. And I did say short shift earlier on, but don't change gear. There's a delay in gear change. And if you've got a manual shifter and you're shifting, yes, use it. But yeah, in this case, stay in second. End of the curb on the left-hand side is when you're going to start braking for the left-hander. You're going to edge towards the outside of the circuit. And then you're going to come back in and then clip the left-hand side here, the left-hand curb there. And then accelerate through. Now, a couple of lines here, but I'd go for the wider line in this car. As you go towards the outside, the painted orange barrier there at the end, you're going to use that as your brake marker. So brake, and you're just going to try and control the car. You want to get it sort of turned in, pointed, so you can just accelerate through the corner. Notice I'm just trying to get the car turn. And then when I know I can make the corner, I accelerate through the corner. And we're going to have a bit of a drag race here with Alex. So yeah, if you've got a shifter and you're using a shifter, it is quicker to change gear with a shifter. But if you don't have a shifter, don't change gear where you don't need to. So in that last sector, second gear is better. Now, as you can see, I'm short shifted a little bit here. So I short shifted there. Alex just changes gear there, and then you can see the difference as we then go through. So there is a delay, and that's the delay. So the shifter stops that delay, basically, because you can shift faster than the AI does. I do hope they remove that in GT7, to be honest with you. I'm not particularly fond of it, but hey, others might be. That's just my personal opinion. Anyway, we get that move done, and Alex gives me just enough space on the inside. Beautiful stuff from Alex. In fact, I'm going to say now, Alex is my driver of the week this week. Shout out to you, Alex. Very well played here with your driving. As we come into towards this left-hander, it goes a bit aggressive, but manages to slow it down. I think there might have been a slight tap, but nothing major there. As we continue on through, just goes a little bit wide there. Does Alex behind? As we come into here, again, look at the bouncing. I'm just bouncing the car. I'm not trying to be aggressive here at all. Just keep it around that 80-mile-an-hour mark if I can, and accelerate through the corner then when I'm happy. And then we head in towards this braking zone. And yeah, good little race there with Alex. Shout out to you and my driver of the week. But anyway, we're going to advance towards the end where the leader kept that place in the end. My mistake earlier on lap 1, second one was probably cost me the victory here. But even so, congratulations to the leader, Trastevere. But that is it. This race could be quite good, actually. I reckon you could have some good races here if you get the right driver ratings. As you see, we've got a mixture of C to A+, which doesn't really lend itself to good racing. But yeah, as I say, that is going to be it for this race. And it's from me then. Viking Stratus there is Alex. So again, driver of the week there. Let's head to race B. Welcome then to Tokyo Expressway, specifically Central Clockwiise, which does mean lots of corners and lots of penalties, which we'll see in a little bit. We are in Group 4 as well, but let's jump to those race details first of all. We're racing 8 laps here at Tokyo Expressway, Central Clockwiise. It's a rolling start. We are on the racing hard tyres, ×2 fuel, ×5 tyre wear, and BOP is fixed. Well, I wish it was fixed. It's currently not fixed because, as we know, in Group 4, the Atenza is the OP car. There's nothing really that touches it. BMW may be close. McLaren close as well, but it's basically just the Atenza in reality. And I'll touch on Bop in the race because I do have an update with the Bop. Shout out to Chelsea once again for this livery. Reminds me of V8 Supercars, this livery. It's a very well done livery, and you can check it out with the tag TCR. Let's jump to the race then. Let's have a look at all the penalties in this race, including an absolute death and a half. We are then at the start. Oh, we also have a very broken camera angle. You can see most people in the Atenza. Believe it or not, a Swift was actually top on the leaderboards. The Swift might be the fastest car in time trial. However, for the race, because of the tyre wear, it definitely isn't. And with Slipstream, the Atenza just goes flying by like it's standing still. But you'll see that in the race now, actually, because somebody has picked the Swift. Right, okay, here we go then. Starting at 20 miles an hour. A billion miles away from the leader, of course, because the rolling starts are still not fixed. Come on, Gran Turismo. Please be a fix these rolling starts. My word, they are atrocious again. We had the first week, Nürburgring. Amazing. Since then, atrocious. And we really want it fixed. I hate it. Right, here we go then, folks. Racing P10, and there's the Swift, and we're going clean on by. 12 seconds off the lead here, my word. In towards turn 1. So, as I said before, lots of penalties in this one. If you touch the barrier, you're getting a penalty, and trust me, lots of people will touch the barrier, including me in this race. I touch the barrier, and I get a few penalties. You won't actually see all of them, because I didn't think it's worth showing. You know how to hit a barrier. You don't need me to show you that. Up in the distance, 1.5 seconds is what the penalty is, as you can see, for that BMW driver. Oh, no, it's a Mustang. Sorry. I can't tell what car it is. As we go through the right-hander and Devourer, they're just losing a little bit of speed. They're going to take the penalty on the left, and we're going to get 2 for 1 there. Buy one, get one free. Up into P8, already down in towards this right-hander then. And here's a quick tip for you. In the tunnel, look behind, look forward. Look at that. It goes a little bit easier to see. Now, someone said I didn't show the tip last time at Deep Forest. I did. And I did mention it. You just got to be quick to notice it, but we'll notice it a few times here. So again, up ahead, a Swift with a 1.5 second penalty. Guess what that's for? Yes, indeed. It is a barrier hit. As we quickly decide where to go with Ashes. Ashes was in the middle of the track, and I was like, I don't know where. I went right. And that was the right decision, apparently. So in towards this fast right-hander again. I'm just testing my speed here. I'm going a little bit slow through these corners at the moment. I'm really just trying to work my way up in towards top speed. Again, another penalty here for Jeff. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. As we advance further on, then this driver also had a penalty. So this is a big incident that you're about to witness. So as you can see, they're all over the place. In towards this right-hander. They turn right well before the corner into me. And that obviously causes a pit maneuver because I was on the right-hand side. It was well before the braking zone, as you will see later on. 5-second penalty. Now, I'd rather this penalty system exist the way it is, where it just gives you a penalty for that than no penalty system at all. But obviously, I was very frustrated with that because they turned well before the corner. I don't know why, and I got a 5-second penalty for it. I'm still confused even now. I was just like, what in the actual... We won't go there. We'll keep it PG. So, we're going to catch up to Ashes, who we overtook earlier on. Goes defensive there in towards this left-hander. Does it well. I do like the look of that Suzuki Swift, by the way. It does look rather nice. As we just clipped the barrier there. And I was scared for a penalty. Oh, there's the other driver. But I was scared for a penalty there. Unfortunately, I didn't get one. I'm going to hit it slightly harder than that. Thank goodness for that. So, here we go again. Let's race Ashes here, heading towards turn 1. You're going to see us start catching this Swift very, very, very quickly in a straight line in towards the braking zone. And through we go. So, happy days so far. Then this fast right-hander. This is one where you could understeer into the barrier. As you see, Ashes nearly do. Oh, Ashes got closer. Goes back across, unfortunately. That means we end up bumper drafting Ashes as we continue on then. And again, we bumper draft them. And now look at the speed difference. Again, heading up the hill. Look at this. Flying on by like we got nitrous. Slight tap there into the right-hander. I couldn't really do much. Had to save it then, and there was another tap. But through we go into the cursed position once again. Of course, it's always this blimmin' cursed position, isn't it? All right, let's advance towards the lap guide then. Let me explain here. So that is the brake marker. The end of the solid fencing as it goes to non-solid. That is the brake marker. So you can see how the driver had already turned at this point in the incident before this. So definite error from that driver. Anyway, through we go. Be careful of understeer. That's a really easy corner to understeer into the barrier. I did it once in this race later on. In towards this right-hander. You can do it flat, but if you feel you're going to understeer into the wall, do lift just a tiny bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Now, you got these pillars for the bridges or the overpass above. You're basically braking at the last one, just before the last one at the crest of the hill here. And then as you come into here, you can then go through it and stay above 120 miles an hour. And look at that. That's how you do that. So I'd say so as you get to the crest of the hill, it's the top one there, just before you get to the crest of the hill. It's a really hard one to explain, but when you do it, you'll realize. Now, I started noticing this grey bit here on the right-hand side. So I started using it as a brake marker because it was awesome. So you will notice it too as you race. It's a bit harder to see on a YouTube video due to the compression. But as it hits the edge of your screen, you brake, you turn in, look behind you quick, get better visuals, stay in 4th gear. And just before the highway markers come here, I've highlighted them ahead. Just before that, I'm braking. You can see that here. Now, this corner, 105 miles an hour is perfect. Anything above 100 is great. So don't risk it too much if you keep hitting the barrier. Drop to 100. 105 is what you're aiming for in reality in terms of apex speeds. So we're going to carry on through this left-hander and head into the tunnel. And guess where the brake marker is in this tunnel? Basically, we're looking at the exit. Now, I'm braking early here. The closer you can get to the exit of the tunnel, the better. But if you go too deep, remember, barrier, penalty. So you're going to have to play with this distance. It depends on the car as well, of course. So I'm trying to slow it down as much as I can there. It's around 96 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour. Now, as you head towards this last corner, there's 2 markers here. First off, the solid fencing on the left-hand side. That is when you brake. So you brake and then let the car just roll through the corner here, okay? Roll. I'm going to point out another marker here, which is on the inside. So I'm letting it roll. As you get to this yellow sign on the right-hand side, it's very obvious because you're looking through the corner, remember? You should be looking at that apex and looking where you're going. You'll notice that, and then you put your foot down, and then you make the corner absolutely fine as dandy. I don't think much else happens in the race other than me getting a couple of penalties. And I got one on the penultimate lap and then that last lap. Now, if you get it towards the end of the lap, as I did, it goes to 2 seconds rather than 1.5. So we ended up in the cursed position all the same. Now, that race I would avoid just due to the penalties. They're atrocious. I saw so many penalties there and the racing wasn't really there because of the penalties. You were just too scared to race in this one. That's it for race B then. Let's head to race C where once again we are in Group 4. But we're also at Catalunya, which is a circuit I do actually like, and I think you can have some good racing at Catalunya, irrespective of the car you're in. Although, obviously, with the BOP at the moment being so far all over the place, there's only a few cars you can actually race in Group 4 that would even compete with the Atenza in reality. They are such as the BMW M4, the McLaren, probably the Alfa Romeo, the old one, the DTM car. That would probably compete with the Atenza a little bit. But let's be honest, the Atenza is probably going to outcompete them all. It is so rapid. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 10 laps here at Catalunya. It's a rolling start. You will have to be careful where you start here because it's a dodgy rolling start. Racing hard tyres, ×7 fuel, ×5 tyre wear. BOP is fixed. Now, with that fuel, in the Atenza, you have to save a tiny bit, and that is it. A tiny bit. In other cars, you'll have to save a bit more. I think in the BMW, you have to save a little bit more. I tried the Swift just out of curiosity in another race, and that was absolutely fine with fuel, but the tyre wear is horrendous, so you can't use that. Now, Shelty is the livery provider, as you know from the previous race. So once again, a shout out to you, my friend. You're famous in these weekly guides, and I love racing you every single week. Let's jump to the race then. Let's have a look exactly what happened, as well as a lap guide as well. Here we are then at the start. As you see, lots of Atenzas. We've got the odd Toyota Supra. Got Key there in the M4. Shout out to Key. Go check Key out. I think Key's streaming all day today. Quite a feat. Him and Rory streaming all day. It's 2 of them now. I'm definitely not doing that. I did though 3 days in a row, and that ruined my hands. Anyway, here we go, folks. We start the race here in P14. As you can see behind me, there's still some just coming out the chicane. Quite incredible, really. They really do need to fix these rolling starts. Now, in the Atenza, we're going to go towards this Supra very quickly because the Atenza is quite OP. And we're going to warm up our tyres as well. Remember, warm up the tyres. When there's tyre wear, there is tyre temps. In towards the braking zone we go. Supra goes down the inside. It's not a bad little lunge. Made the apex in the grand scheme of it. And just pulled out of it the last second to avoid hitting Marie, which is fair play to Chris GT. Just goes a bit deep, as does Key behind. They both go a bit deep. I'll explain how to. Oh! And comes back on and absolutely whacks me there. But we survive and no damage, fortunately. Anyway, we're going to head in towards this right-hander. I will explain how to do this track, of course, with my lap guide later on. Now, on the inside of Marie here, as we head down towards this left-hander, we just pulled ahead a little bit here. And we left a little bit of space on the inside. They're just taking that room. However, we're going to get a better exit up into P12 then, with a McLaren up in the distance to race. So heading towards this left-hander. Now, Izzy up ahead. Took avoiding action to avoid no man's island there. So a shout out for that sportsmanship, Izzy. That is really nice to see. It really is good stuff. And yeah, we're going to take the position anyway as we're up into P11 with Triss in the McLaren to our left here. So down the inside we go. We hit the apex. They just turned in a bit early. Maybe didn't realize we were there. Not too sure. But we're going to get up into P10 then. So not too bad. We've made 4 positions, actually, in 1 lap. That's not too bad at all. I'll take that every day of the week. As we head in towards his right-hander, we've got a BMW of No Man's Island and Greebox up ahead then. And a Tenza versus an M4. So we'll leave that corner here. The Tenza just catching the M4 a little bit here. In towards the braking zone we go. No Man's Island goes defensive. Greebox tries around the outside. So I think, okay, let's get in on the action here. Let's get on the inside of Greebox. And that is what we plan to do as we head down towards this left-hander. And in we go. And I noticed Greebox went for the move, so I sort of backed out of this to try and go on the inside. Because I knew what was coming. The tap on the BMW. And we make it work. It's unfortunate for No Man's Island. But hey, we're up into P9. They lose 2 positions, unfortunately, just due to the contact with Greebox. No idea whether it was a mistake or not. Not too sure. So, we've got Greebox next. What can we do as we go through here? We absolutely nail this. Get right on the back of the Tenza. As the Tenza goes defensive, then he's got a couple of people taking penalties up in the distance, in towards the braking zone then. Flag indicator, of course. So we're going to try around the outside, and then they just tap me on my rear quarter there. And, yeah, not a lot of room left on exit. Wasn't too happy with that, to be fair. But it could have been a mistake. I wasn't sure as we head in towards this right-hander. And I kept getting this slightly wrong as well, weirdly. Greebox gets it wrong as well. So, again, down the inside. Eduardo gets it wrong as well. Lots of people getting it wrong. Now, I noticed Greebox was down the inside and I couldn't really go anywhere. And, again, just trying to outbrake everybody. Greebox need to rein it in a little bit with the braking. You can't outbrake every single person here. I guess a 2-second penalty, though, which is significant. So we do know the penalty system is working to some extent. It's better than it ever was in GT Sports, I think. Except the barrier bit. I think the barriers are a bit an issue. But we look down the inside of Greebox here. It does give me room as we come through here. So you can see that there were more mistakes. Just trying to outbrake people rather than being an absolute dirty driver in any way, shape or form. And Greebox takes that penalty, as does Eduardo, up into P7 then. As we then head in towards the left. And we've got the French driver of Flacco74 up next. So we have a bit of a run on them. Heading towards this right-hander. Down the inside we go. And we're going to get it stopped beautifully here. Job done. And that is us up into, of course, our favourite position, P6. It's never any other position at all other than P6. But we do have P5, 4, and 3 directly in front of us. So maybe we can get some more positions here. Right, we're going to break into this as normal. Flacco goes for the dive of the century. Absolutely slams into me. And I flash like crazy. Now, Flacco, you should have given that position back up. That was not acceptable, but you got a 3-second penalty for it. So, again, the penalty systems work. Right, lap guide time. Turn 1. The building on the right side. As the most inner part of that hits your edge of your screen, that's when you're going to brake. You could use a flag indicator maybe as well, but I use that building more than ever now, mainly because it's in every single game that I play. So through here we go. Obviously, I'm on the outside of somebody here, so it's not going to be as effective as you would normally see it, but I've done Catalunya 1,000 times. Now, that orange barrier there, as that hits the center of your screen, so you can see I'm full throttle a little bit early here. So as it gets a bit more in the center, that's when you should hit full throttle. Now, I'm going to have to lift a little bit as I continue on through. As you see there, I lift a little bit because there's a super on my left-hand side. But use that as your accelerating marker. It's a really good one. Now, there's a big incident about to happen there. But your braking marker here is just before the gantry hits the top of your screen. Use that. Nice, easy, the gantry. Don't brake too late. I kept braking too late slightly here. Now, Flacco absolutely pit maneuvered towers into the Brit there. And he's about to get another 5 seconds on top of that. 9 seconds of penalties now. My word, that is a lot. So, on the right side, we've got that same building we used earlier on. We're going to use it again here. This time, we're going to use different parts of this building, depending on how late you want to brake for the corner. But that building, really good marker here. And second gear. Now, you want to keep it tight, and you just want to get it pointed and accelerate out the corner. The Tenza is quite stable on exit. So, as we carry on through here, then, we're going to look on the inside of Flacco. But our usual brake marker here is the start of the curb on the right-hand side. Use that as your marker. Really, really, really useful. And, yeah, just avoid going too wide there and clipping the curb and going on the grass. In towards the left we go. Clip the curb. Don't run too wide here on the right-hand side because you will get a penalty for track limits. Now we're going to head up the hill. On the left, we've got this curb. The end of the curb, just before the end of the curb, actually, is when you want to turn in. Some cars you'll need to brake. Others you don't. You do have to slightly brake in the Tenza. However, you generally just want to roll out to brake a little bit more there. You want to clip the curb. When you clip the curb, you can just accelerate through and you should be fine. As we continue on now towards this left-hander. Our usual marker here, the flag marker on the right side. As that hits the edge of your screen, you're just going to hit the brakes, hit the anchors, drop to second gear in the Tenza. As you will see in a second, third gear, second gear, and clip that curb. And through you go. Just be careful of understeer on the exit. I found it a little bit understeery there. Now, you're going to clip the left, and you're going to straight line the brake in here a little bit, just to dab the brake. Now, you're just rolling the car through, balancing the car. Now, I use this curb. You can use the painted orange barrier ahead of you, but I use this curb, more the sausage bit, as that gets to the edge of your screens when you accelerate. I've done it a bit early here, so I'm getting a bit greedy. Do I make it? I do make it. So try and practice with that greed. Start safe and then get greedy with your throttle. Now, the right-hander here is as the tyre marks cross the curb. I always use that. Intersect, as somebody said in the past. As that intersects, I brake, I turn in. I want to clip the sausage a little bit there. Get over to the right-hand side as fast as possible. I use the gantry or the shadow, depending on how I feel, in terms of a brake marker for this final chicane. Now, this is a chicane you don't want to cut too much. The reason being is when you do cut it, you're going to get a penalty, and you don't want that. So we're going to do it about that much, should be fine, and carry on through. So we're going to head towards the finish line, and actually we're going to advance to the end of the race because nothing really changes other than I catch up a little bit to the guys ahead. Wind kept getting penalties, and yeah, we finished 3 seconds off, unfortunately, probably due to the incidents earlier on, I would say, with Flacco. But that is going to be it for this week, folks. Womble's in there as well if you want to check out Womble on YouTube as well. I do hope you enjoyed it this week. I think you can have some good racing on some of the circuits. Just be careful of B. It's Penalty City. That's what we're going to call it from now. But as I say, that is going to be it for me. Now, there are 2 videos there if you want to check them out, including me getting mad at the roulette. So do check that one out. It's kind of funny. And I do add crowd noises. A logo's there if you want to subscribe. But that is going to be it for me now, folks. Do have a good week of racing, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream very soon.